1 second. Here and here. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Here and all right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today, and what a day today, right? So fresh all-time highs in the market as we continue to grind our way up. So we'll see what the Fed has to say on Wednesday if they want to change things a little bit. We got earnings coming out tomorrow on a couple big bank names, so we'll see how if they try to set the tone or not. So it could be interesting. But anyway, guys, this week we're going to be talking about volume. So today we're going to talk about using volume, and we're going to talk about a couple different topics here. Some that we've touched on in the past, others that we haven't covered, and hopefully you guys will find it helpful. And today we're going to be talking about breakouts. Okay, so let's take a look here. But before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to check and see where we left off in the market today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening and what might be setting up going into tomorrow. And then we'll take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, guys, up 15 points here today. Still green on the monthly chart. Weekly chart, McClellan Oscillator back up again. So we're still green here as we continue to push our way up. Daily chart, right? Nice follow through from this doji reversal move, right? So fresh all-time highs here today, and our wave count that we talked about last night, and we talked about on all our videos too. Looks like it's playing out pretty nicely right here, right? So we had this ABC expanded flat pullback. There was this subwave 1, subwave 2, and it looks like we're in a subwave 3 right now, which is actually hiding behind this little bubble. So it looks like we're in subway 3. To me, it looks like a little bit of an ending diagonal, right? So we kind of have this this kind of look to it, right? This little banana shape to it, right? So it kind of, to me, looks like, this could be kind of like a 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5. So let's see how it goes, right? A little bit of overlapping right here. However you want to look, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, we might see a little bit of a pullback tomorrow, maybe a small one, ABC for a wave 4, and then we'll see maybe the Fed gets things going again, gets things excited, then we see another push up to highs or not, right? So we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes here this week. Let's take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening. All right, so S&P futures, guys, looks like we're only down like 50 cents right now, so pretty flat here today. We've had a pretty big move up right here. You can kind of count 5 waves on this one on the move up, right? You got this impulsive wave right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we might be finishing up this kind of wave 5 move right here. So we'll see how it goes. We might see a little bit of a pullback tomorrow. So we'll see what kind of price action we get tomorrow. Now, what are we expecting? We'll see. We got banks reporting in the morning. J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, a couple of the big ones. So we'll see if they set the tone. For the most part, they've been pretty strong, right? Kind of running up into the Fed here so far. So we'll see what type of comments we get at 2:30 on Wednesday when Powell does his press conference, and see what happens, right? So we'll see if they talk about inflation, see if they talk about the need to do rates. We'll see if they actually adjust the rates, right? And chances are they're probably going to be unchanged. It would be interesting if they actually raised rates, but that would be definitely unexpected. But that could definitely get the market a little bit wild. So tonight, guys, just kind of keep an eye on the highs, right? So just kind of see if we break out here above this level. We can kind of get a little bit of a geometric line right there, and just kind of see how that holds. And we got a little bit of support right here. So it could be kind of a tight area here tonight, but we'll see what they do. Maybe we'll get a little overnight drift and kind of see where we go from there. We had a pretty big MOC on the buy side today, so we'll see if they continue to stay bullish on this one or not. So good stuff there. So let's take a look here and see what we've got today. So today we've got. This week we are talking about volume. So talking about using volume, and particularly in this case for breakouts. So what does that mean? So what do we mean by volume? So volume is a really important clue, gives a really important clue to see whether or not buyers or sellers are serious, right? And so we like to use this often because it is in fact, we rely on it often to help us, right? To help us give us clues whether or not we're going to get some upside follow through. So when we look at breakouts, right, there's a couple things. We've talked about that in the past, guys. Usually a breakout, you can look at it a couple different ways. You can look at a horizontal breakout, or you can look at it basically a sideways breakout, right? Sideways are usually my favorites because we tend to be downtrending, right? And then we get a lot of times we get, usually these moves are a little bit more potent, but sometimes we come back and retest and we go, right? That's kind of one of the things we have to be patient about. The other thing, a lot of times we see a lot of failed breakouts on horizontal moves, but they tend to pull back a little bit farther and then they start to go, right? So those are kind of the big trends. Occasionally we do get ones that just go, just break and go, and sometimes those are great, but they're tough to identify, even with volume. But sometimes if you get a retest and you get volume after the retest, it can give you even bigger clues. So let's take a look at a couple examples on the daily charts of names that have given us some interesting breakout moves recently. So one is AMD, right? So AMD gave us a nice breakout move here, right? So what do we have? We had a bull flag here. We talked about this. And this helped us with our wave count that we've had recently, right? So huge breakout candle on this one, right? So that's the hardest part about breakouts, right? Is going long on the breakout candle. If we have the benefit of getting a retrace, that can help us out a lot. What I like about this retrace on AMD, right, so we had huge volume that came in right here, but then you can see the next day, right, the volume really started to drop. But what I also like is that the volume also started to drop on the red candle as well, dropped on the inside candle, and dropped again on the next red candle, and then we got some more volume on this one, right? So following that, right, an inside day with lower volume. I love an inside day with increasing volume, and then things started to move, right? So it's tough, right, especially with options, right, depending how far out you go on some of these. If you get long here, this can be really, really painful. And that's why we like to look at debit spreads to say that if this breakout is going to go, right, then we'd like to look here as a potential target. So what we would do is we look for a debit spread, like an 88, 89 call spread. That's a little bit farther out, maybe like a monthly type move. And a lot of times you can still get a 4x trade or something like that out of it once it gets to target, and you get a little bit of follow through right here. Right, so nice stuff there on AMD. Another one that was another big mover recently was Amazon. Okay, so Amazon had a big move, and let me get a little bit of a cleaner chart here for us. Okay, it's a little bit cleaner right here. So what I like about Amazon is a couple different things, right? So this first candle right here was not a breakout candle, but it was a strong candle that came up to the geometric line. And then we had a doji, kind of a doji sandwich move with increased volume right here. So here's really your breakout candle right here, right? It paused a little bit, right? Decreasing volume. Then we had a green candle with increased volume. Usually, typically on those, if we're profitable, those are good days to look to take profit and maybe hold the rest for runners, right? Because we had another breakout move a little bit later, and then we had a lot of chop after that, right? So we had the chop, right? And then we finally had another breakout candle here with increased volume, right? So increased volume right here. And this move here was the one, right? Because we got a nice move up right here, right? So a nice wave count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so and we got a nice breakout there. So again, watch the volume, right? It really, really gives us clues that these breakouts are going to move. But keep in mind, these breakouts are prone to pullbacks, right? Before they get going again. But when you can get some more volume coming in there, I know it's a pain to sit through a lot of this stuff. That's why we don't like to do it. We like to get the next confirmation move and then see if we can get going from there. So that's a good one. Let's take a look at one more. Let's take a look at Roku. So Roku is another one that gave us a nice breakout move with volume, right? So let me try to get a cleaner chart here for you guys. So here, so a nice breakout move here with volume. Again, geometric line here. This is a great candle right here, breakout candle, right? Increased volume. So a lot of times it's tough to go long on these, right? And so once it pulled back here and retested all these key levels, and then we got another candle right here that started to move, that was great, but low volume, right? Once the volume started to come in here, it's hard to hide from that at that point, right? So you can see that at this point here, buyers were getting very interested based on the volume, right? The pullback makes sense. So a lot of times it's hard to wait for the pullback. It's very tempting to get in the first breakout candle, but usually it just shows intent, and then we want to look for some confirmation, right? And then that volume right here was higher than the breakout candle right here, and that showed that they were very serious with this one. Small gap down, and then this thing really, really went. And then you can see here when things started to kind of calm down a bit, right? We had still could be held on this this red candle right here, decline volume on this one. Green candle right here had some low volume, makes it really tough. Decline volume right here, decline volume right here, and that was your finishing move right there for Roku. At this point now, it's kind of tough. We've had a pretty major pullback on this one. You had a little bit of volume on here, but the volume is really, relative volume right now is not really there yet for Roku. So we just kind of need to keep an eye on it and see how it goes going forward. So this is a fun one that we tracked last week. So good stuff there, guys. That's volume. It's really important. It's important on the daily chart. It's also important on the intraday chart. And so keep an eye on it, right? Look for the pullbacks on the breakouts, and then look for more volume after that if they're really serious about it. So good stuff there, guys. Hopefully you found that helpful. We got some more topics this week, some that we've never talked about really before or very much before, and I think you guys will like it. So stay tuned this week for more on volume. And at this point now, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. and we'll get through as many as we can. Try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff, guys. Otas sent a few in here via Twitter, so let's take a look here. We got Disney on the radar. Perfect candidate right here. So volume breakout, guys. I love it. So what's pretty cool about Disney is that we talked about it last night. Everybody was on the Elliott Wave show last night. Paul said like this thing. I think he just said it's going up, right? And I was like, you can't really guarantee that, right? But it was, right? It did make a nice move right here. So what was kind of cool about Disney is exactly this, right? So it gave a kind of a breakout candle right here, but was it one that we could trust? No, there's no volume on it, right? Then it came back down and retraced, right? And then it tried again with a couple green candles. Was there any volume on there? No, the volume was declining. And then it pulled back one more time, and then it gave us a green candle right here with increasing volume, and then it gapped up again with a little bit of more volume, and then you get the follow through here today, right? So to say that today is the breakout candle is possible. We did break out of a horizontal level on this one, and I think we should still keep it on the bullish radar going into tomorrow, but it was a sneaky one right here, right? Because we got a couple nice green candles, but we didn't start to get the volume coming in until a couple days ago, and now we're getting that upside follow through. So we'll keep it again. Might get some upgrades and stuff like that tomorrow. We might get some follow through, and it could turn into a Roku type move. But definitely keep an eye on the volume going into tomorrow. Especially on the intraday to see if we get some action on the intraday to see if it's ready to get going. Nice stuff there. Let's take a look at Snow. So Snow again. This is another one. A couple strong days, right? It's a couple good green candles right here. We got a good breakout candle right here with increasing volume, right? So it ended up making for a nice move through the geometric line. Now we got an inside day with low volume. So does that mean this thing is going to turn around? Not necessarily, right? We're starting to see kind of like some bigger volume moves coming in this thing. So let's see what kind of day we have tomorrow. If this thing's really ready to go and can get over these highs, we might get a little more action here on Snow. UPST, let's take a look. Again, good volume here today, but is it breaking out of any major levels? Not really. We're kind of getting out of this little geometric line right here with some volume, but I really want to see it get out of this range. So keep an eye on that and see if the volume keeps coming in on that and gets going. Neo, let's take a look. So Neo, again, great example here, guys. Right, we look at the volume that came in here at this geometric breakout. Good volume right here. Pause. Right, increased volume's a little bit tough on that one right here. Then we just kind of continue to go. Boom, more volume right here. Pull back sideways. More volume. Pull back sideways. More volume. Pull back sideways. So the buyers are stepping in, and then boom, we got that big breakout right here, that 1, 2, 3, 4 triangle, and then that push, right? So what I like about it here too, even though it kind of looks like we finished a wave 5, this still could be an ABC down. We got some good volume the other day that held these levels. So a couple pause days right here. I would keep an eye on it, see if we get some more volume on this one, and see if it's ready to get going. And then Coin, let's take a look. So Coin has definitely been one of the trickier ones. Coin gave a nice breakout right here, gave you a gap up. Pull back on low volume, got a little more volume up here, but not much. But notice the difference between this and Roku, right? So look at what the volume's doing right here. We're kind of trending down on volume, right? So it's a little bit different. We had increased volume, but it wasn't more than the original breakout candle, right? So that's one of the things that we really like to see. Here, you had good volume right here. We pulled back, and then we had good volume. And then here, look at the volume, right? The difference between the volume moves, right? That we actually went up in volume, right? So that's kind of the difference between this one and Coin. So good stuff. Hopefully you found that helpful. And Shirley's got a few out there that she's sending via email. Shirley, hope you're doing great out there. So let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla's been interesting. Tesla's not really been a big volume mover recently. It's given a couple moves, but funky, right? So here was a good increased volume move right here. I think this was an okay one, right, to try for an overnight type thing, right? And then it went sideways for a while, right? And then it pulled back again. Then we got some good volume right here. But look what's happening with the volume. It's actually kind of declining right here. So today was an increased volume day, but based on the first breakout moves, right, it really wasn't much. So we have to be careful here with Tesla. And I'm still a little bit wary about it because of its. They really still haven't come out and talked about that plaid spontaneous meltdown, and we're also kind of below this geometric line right here, so a little bit of caution there off of that. Disney we just looked at. Let's take a look at Discover. So again, nice move right here. Again, the volume is not quite there, but we've also got kind of earnings coming up here. This is one of the financial names, credit card companies, so let's see how that goes after the big ones report, but see how it handles the Fed news. LB with a good candle right here, nice kind of breakout-ish type move. I'm not really happy with the upper shadow on it, but that's got good volume, right? So now we want to see if that volume really starts to come in on LB. And then TGT. Again, still working its way up, guys. This has been a great one here. Big volume here off of earnings, right? And got a nice little drift up here. It's basically just kind of been holding on to the 80 and made the whole way. So nice stuff there as Target continues to work its way up. So good stuff, Shirley. Really appreciate it. Alphabet sending a few in via Twitter. So let's take a look at these. We got BHC. So BHC, okay, it's kind of doing this thing. We used to track this one a little bit. It's giving us a couple moves, but big thing here is this geometric line, right? Keep an eye on that. We're still below the 50-day moving average, right? So above this geometric line gets us above the cloud. So look for some volume, right, to see if we can get above there. Look what it did right here, right? So we just got to had some rising volume into this, and then boom, kapowie, right, for a big move, but kind of a capitulation move, right? So good stuff there. And then AX and X, let's take a look. AXN is kind of hanging in there, right? Decent volume today, right? So, kind of an upper shadowish type move. So just see if we can get over today's highs. So good stuff there. Bullish bearish trades, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at Lyft. So Lyft, again, guys, you kind of just really just get an eye for this stuff at the average volume, right? So the average volume is kind of like, kind of declining here, right? So we're seeing, some declining volume going on. So definitely something to keep an eye on. In the meantime, right, it's below the 80 MA. It does have increased volume here today, but it's still kind of relatively low, right? So even though it's increasing, doesn't mean that, one of my friends puts it really nicely. He says, like, elephants can't fit through doorways, right? When you start to see this volume really start to come in right here, this was a nasty candle right there. You had this is a kind of a bearish move, right? Bearish increased volume, right? Sideways action, and then more huge relative volume on that, and then we got that downside follow through on Lyft. Now, it wasn't huge, but we did get the downside follow through. Right, so good stuff there. Let's take a look at CRM. So CRM is starting to get a little bit more volume, right? But it's under the 80 MA, right? We talked about it's kind of bearish yesterday, but it is holding kind of some support right here. So just kind of see how that holds, unless we get some volume, right? So good stuff there. URI, big push here today. Again, honestly, on this one here, this is looks like pretty. Looks like it's got a lot of volume on this one, but it looks like pretty average here too. So just kind of keep an eye on it. This is one that some folks like to try and trade. Right, it's pretty good. Let's even get through the cloud and kind of get going on there with some volume. And then Boeing. So Boeing's a good example right here, right? So we had increased volume day, right? And then we had another nice push. And then, but look what happened here. Look how it didn't get any follow through. But look what happened with the volume. It was high volume, but it was decreasing volume, right? So it got a little bit of follow through and then kind of started to work its way back. We did get some big volume the other day, but now these green candles are kind of paused-ish, right? We really want to see this thing, some good volume come into this thing to see if it's ready to make a move. Okay, and Boeing will do it, right? It will give you some volume, some increase when it's ready to go, right? So here's a great example right here, right? You had increased volume right here, you had a bunch of sideways action, and then boom, you get some volume, some more volume, and then that thing really, really pushed for a nice, 3-4 day move on that one. So Boeing can do it when it's ready, but right now it's just kind of flopping around right here on mediocre volume, right? So good stuff there. And then next, CELH, let's take a look. CELH, kind of chopping around here sideways a little bit. All right, so you can get over that geometric level, see if it's ready to push. PD, let's take a look. The next one you're doing well too. Wow. Okay, so very interesting on this one. So this had some, no, not this one right here. So bearish engulfing day today, right? But low volume, so we'll see how it holds. This is kind of a low float type name, just a little bit of caution on that, right? So the volume's not that enticing. Vizio, let's take a look. This is a nice find from yesterday, right? Crazy price action right here, but it is holding on pretty well. So let's see if I get some upside follow through. Massey, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD with a interesting little pullback right here. I like the low volume on the red candle, right? I'd like to see if it can try to continue to push its way up. Again, we just kind of reviewed this one right here. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a 618 retrace right here, and then maybe it tried to go. But again, keep an eye on the volume on this one here too, for sure. Good stuff. And Armando, good to see you. Happy Monday. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at now. So now again, a little bit of pullback here to the downside, right? So just kind of is what it is right now, but declining volume. So see if we can try to push its way over today's highs, maybe get some more upside volume. V again, just kind of keep an eye on this one here too, guys. Oops, sorry about that. On now, let me take another look at it right here. Sorry. Yeah, good push up right here, and kind of a dark cloud cover candle on it, right? So it looked a little bit rough on the 1 hour chart there too. V, again, a little bit down here today too, just kind of hanging on to the 80 MA. Again, we got earnings season starting, so watch this one and watch it through the Fed and see what it gets us right here. And Boeing we just looked at too. It could be a double pause day, but I'd really like to see some volume kind of coming in on this thing, and then maybe it could go for that gap. Right, so good stuff there. John Flores, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You got Netflix on the radar. So Netflix doing its Netflix thing, right? Netflix never makes it easy. It really doesn't. I mean, look at this volume, just the volume on this way up right here. It's just blah, right? And then you got red, green, red, green, red. Netflix is the essence of chop, right? And so it just kind of is what it is. It makes it tough. It's kind of grinding its way up. I think it'll eventually fill this gap, but might just do it on one of those kind of spur of the moments, and then we'll see how it goes, right? So just a little bit of caution off of that. But good stuff. Really appreciate it. And Ink, what's going on? Going to see a Mr. Softy. Let's take another look here. So Mr. Softy again, good stuff here, guys. You get a harmonic move right here. We started to see some volume coming in off the down moves, right? And then it started to kind of grind its way up, and then some nice volume started to come in here. See how it started to increase, right? Good push right here, and then it's continued to grind its way up and held the 80 MA on Microsoft. Again, this is still hanging out up here near all-time highs. So again, let's see what the Fed's got to say here on Wednesday to see how it affects these things. SE, again, tough little upper shadow here today, so let's see if we can get above these geometric lines and kind of get going. And then AMD, again, very popular name here. Very possible it could be working on a little subwave pullback, right? You can kind of see it right here. If you kind of look at this, the wave up right here, right? This could be sort of like a 1-2, 1-2. It could be looking at a leading diagonal type thing, but nice little move up, and just kind of see if it does a little 618 pullback before it gets going again here off of the this potential wave count right here for a 3, 4, and then might be working on a wave 5. So definitely something to keep an eye on there too. But good stuff, guys. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. Again, guys, hopefully you guys see the value of volume. Very, very important stuff. When you really see them start to plow in on there, and the average volume is really increasing impressively, you definitely want to keep an eye on that. Whoa, Creighton, what's going on? Good to see ya. You're back. I love it. So good stuff. I was actually just thinking about you. Someone was asking about BHC. Like, look at a Bausch on that one. So let's take a look at that one here. So you got W on the radar. A little bit of caution there under the 80 MA on that one. S-Bucks. Let's take a look. S-Bugs, a little bit of volume coming in here. It's kind of grinding its way up, so let's see if that continues to percolate. CrowdStrike. Let's see, this has been such a rough name recently, but notice the volume here that started to come in on this name, right? So we got a couple nice, really good pushes here, right? Sideways action, a little bit of upside after that. But after that, it's been kind of chopping in here, but it is holding the 80 MA. PayC, let's take a look. PayC with a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle here today, so caution off of that in case it takes out the lows. Not a lot of volume, but still could be interesting. And then TMO. TMO, look at this thing go. Look at this. Woo! Big push on this one here recently. So nice volume came in here, right? Good increasing volume, right? And then boom, yeah, this big breakout candle right here with the volume. A couple little chop candles, a little more, and then it's kind of riding the 80 MA up there. So very, very nice stuff on that one. So some good stuff there. And then Jingnut Solo, what's going on? Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. So Airbnb, let's take a look. So again, guys, this is kind of another one too. It had increased volume on Friday. But look how low even though it's increasing, look how kind of low this volume has been here, right? We're still in this kind of choppiness, right? You kind of watch this volume just from here. We're still in this choppy range right here. I really want to see if they're interested in pushing this thing, they're going to have to plow through this range with some good volume, right? And then we'll see if we can ride an 80 MA up on that one. Guys, I'd still keep an eye on this one going up into earnings. We looked at Airbnb, for some beach houses and stuff like that. And these things, they've been booked up solid all summer. So I think it's very, very interesting. It's something to keep an eye on going into the earnings report. Could be interesting. Now, they might beat on earnings and it still might miss on guidance and all that stuff, but I think definitely it's one to keep an eye on there too. And then Creighton would tell you got GNRC. Let's take a look at this one. Just grinding its way up. Yeah, look at this thing. So a lot of big moves on this one. There's been some storms recently, kind of hurricanes and Elsa and all that stuff. So kind of grinding up here into the hurricane season. So I think it's definitely one to kind of keep an eye on here. But yeah, what a big move on that one. Really incredible. Good stuff. Awesome, guys. Well, once again, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you found this helpful. We're going to have a good series this week. I've got some topics that we don't really talk about very much I think you'll like here on Volume, so I just thought it was a good one to kind of kick it off here with Breakout. So good stuff. Really appreciate it, everybody. I hope everybody has an awesome evening. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning right here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video. And until then, guys, stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe. See you soon.